Hashtag release the Snyder Cut, you bunch of mother... Okay, well, I'm not that aggressive about the situation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Super Series Tuesday, and for today, we will be covering the 5th film in the DC Extended Universe, Justice League. Now, Justice League was released in 2017, and it was directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. Although Joss Whedon didn't get an official directorial credit, you can tell that a vast majority of this movie came from Joss Whedon's reshoot, so I will also give him a directorial credit. It stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Gal Gadot. And the story primarily follows Batman and Wonder Woman as they search through their world for the remaining metahumans so that they can band together and stop Steppenwolf and his army of parademons. So we can just hop right into the positives, guys. You know Justice League, it's a year old now, and was actually its lowest grossing film to date, only passing globally. I think it was like $653 million, so not what they expected for their first big team-up movie. But that being said, it still does have its positives. So firstly is the opening for the movie, because Zack Snyder is just the king of really awesome openings. I love seeing these openings, and it's no different here for Justice League. I think this one's one of his best, and the music choice was perfect. Secondly is most of the cast in this movie. In particular, once again, I love Gal Gadot's portrayal as Wonder Woman. I think she's absolutely fantastic and the perfect person to play this role. And as well as Ezra Miller. I actually adore Ezra Miller as the Flash. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of him, but I think he's absolutely hilarious. All of his comedic moments really do work for me in this movie, and I think he's great as a character, and I really do hope he gets a solo movie. And next is Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Again, I just love his badass rock star kind of portrayal as Aquaman. And next is something that we already expected for this movie, and that is that it is visually stunning. I mean, we all know Zack Snyder is more so a spectacle director than anything else, and it's showcased here. The movie, despite its flaws, is wonderful to look at. Although the movie is super CGI heavy, it's very nice, clean, polished looking CGI, and I really enjoy it. And next is actually the third act of this movie. The whole end fight I actually find to be super enjoyable. For me, it's what saves the movie from just being completely mediocre and okay. I have a lot of fun watching it. I feel like everybody has their own unique talents, everybody does their own thing, and I feel like it's a lot of fun to watch. And again, with the ending, I feel like by the end of it, they really do feel like a team. They all work together. Like I said, everybody does their part. Everybody has a role to play, and they play it up perfectly. And next, again with the ending, is the fact that I feel like everybody's story arc actually wraps up really nicely. Not that I want that to be the end of them. I honestly want to see all of these guys get their own solo movies or a sequel to their solo movies, as well as get more Justice League team-ups with this cast. You know, it felt very satisfying where they all left off. And next is the end credit scenes. There are two of them. The first one is really genuinely funny. I get a good kick out of it. It's only short. It's like 30 seconds maybe, but I think it's hilarious. And the next one sets up for a really badass sequel, or just future plans down the road. Now, if that will actually come to be, I do not know, because Zack Snyder seems to be permanently out of DC. Probably Joss Whedon too. I really don't know what's going on over at DC. I don't think they know what's going on. But I would really like to see that end credit scene go somewhere, because it's super badass and it makes me hyped for the future of this franchise. And sadly, that's pretty much it for the positives already. And for the negatives, guys, well, the first one I might as well address right away. As you notice, when I gave praises to the characters, I left a few major characters out, and that is the remaining Justice League characters, which is Batman, Superman, and Cyborg. Firstly, with Batman, they turn him into a complete joke, okay? Just let the dark characters be dark. Although, you know, you want to make the rest of your universe all happy-go-lucky and fun and whatever, family-friendly, that's fine. But Batman, throughout all of Batman's stuff, has always stayed the same. Whether it's comics, TV shows, whatever, he's always the darkest of the characters, and I feel like that definitely should have been left that way. And of course, I honestly feel like he contributes the absolute least to the team. He gets his ass kicked all the time. If you want to take notes on how to include Batman in these fights, just watch Justice League the Animated Series, okay? Batman contributes just as much as everyone else in those fights, those world-ending apocalyptic army fights. Like, he contributes just as much as everyone else in that series. Why can't he do that in this movie? I have no idea. Next is Superman, because spoiler alert, not actually. He comes back in this one, and to me, he becomes exactly why I hated Superman before Man of Steel. He just becomes this godlike cheat code Boy Scout. He's just cracking jokes, making one-liners, and he's pretty much unstoppable unless there's kryptonite in play. The whole team, the rest of the Justice League, can barely take on Steppenwolf together, and then Superman comes in and just undoes him in 2.2 seconds while smiling and laughing and making jokes. That's the side of Superman I do not like. I like my Superman vulnerable, I like him being serious when it needs to be serious, and I like him being happy and nice and smiley when it's time for that. And next is just something I want to address, because they pretty much just wiped away the things that happened at the end of Batman v Superman. I mean, they should have went with the comic way, which is the way they seem to be going, in which Superman Superman gets brought back from the sun, but no, instead they get this weird half-assed way to bring him back that gets thought of in 2 seconds and don't make any sense to me, but hey, whatever, you know, we need to bring Superman back in our little time frame that we have, which brings me to my next negative, and that is that this movie has a complete runtime of 2 hours flat. That is ridiculous, if you ask me. And by that, I mean complete runtime. I mean that's credits included. So actual runtime of the movie is somewhere between an hour and 45 and an hour and 15 minutes. Are you kidding me? There's so much movie here, okay? So you have to introduce The Flash. You have to introduce Aquaman. You have to introduce Cyborg. You have to have your own story. You have to focus on them all coming together. You have to focus on bringing Superman back. There's just way too much movie here. There's too much movie for a 2.5-hour movie, let alone an hour and 45-minute movie. And lastly is something that is huge for me. You guys by now should know, if you're watching my channel for the last little while, that a score to a movie can make or break the movie for me, and for this one it absolutely breaks it in some moments. I love Danny Elfman and I love his scores. His score during the entire Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy is fantastic, and the guy has a lot of really solid scores, but when it comes to this movie it just didn't work. They should have let Junkie XL do it. He did a much better job. The one that pains me the most is that they changed the Wonder Woman theme from the electric guitar to whatever nonsense this is, and honestly when you really listen to it, it feels like it was thrown together in one afternoon because they were like, hey, we have a Junkie XL score with Zack Snyder, and then Joss Whedon comes in like, how about we just get Danny Elfman to do it because I'm Joss Whedon and I want to change everything. I'm not blaming Joss Whedon, I'm actually blaming the DC producers, but I'm saying when they came in, Joss Whedon came in, they were like, just change everything. So guys, although it does sound like I'm harping on this movie quite a lot, I kind of am actually, the first 2 acts of this movie I find aren't terrible or bad by any means, they're just fine. They're mediocre, but the third act really does bring it home. It's a lot of fun. Although it doesn't take away from the negatives of the movie, it does make it a much more enjoyable experience. So with that being said, I'm going to be giving Justice League a 7 out of 10. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Justice League? Do you think it's a great flick? Do you think it's completely mediocre? Do you think it's terrible? Do you think it's the saving grace of the DC universe? I don't know, guys. There's a lot of opinions about this movie out there, so make sure you let me know yours. And be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And as always, be sure to check out my Instagram page every Friday for the Fan Vote Friday. Week 3 of the Christmas Challenge is about to take place, where you will be voting on the finalists, so make sure you are there on my Instagram page, check my story, and vote, vote, vote. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Oh, come on, DC, come on. Please be good, please be good, please.